What's up, everybody? I'm meteorologist Andrea Myers, bringing you guys your daily hail forecast, sponsored as always by C3 Group, Merlin Law Group, American Contractor, and Atlas. They're linked in the description to this video, so go ahead and check out the work that they get, or the good work that they do making these videos possible. So we've got back-to-back risks today and tomorrow. It's kind of a pattern that's been picking up for the last few days, so we'll see if that can stick around. Right now we have hail chances for the northern plains. The southeast is going to be mostly wind, looking into both of those risk areas. As well as tomorrow we got severe chances for Houston. Yes, Texas is making its way into those risks as that cold front continues to sink southward. So we'll talk about all of that in a moment. And then we're going to end it by watching the weekend pattern. Again, seeing if all the severe weather can stick around and what's going to happen over the next few days. So stay tuned. But first, before we get into all of our weather, going into our upcoming events. So if you guys haven't heard before, we do tailgates here at Hail Trace down in Norman. So they are by the Bud Wilkinson House on Jenkins Avenue. So get on down to the stadium, go ahead and watch some OU football. We're going to be playing UTEP on September 3rd. So you guys can have the game, you guys can get free food, free beer, and even a chance to win some box seats to future games. So go ahead and get on out there. It's a great time. And then we're also going to be at the RCAT MRCA Roofing Conference in Fort Worth from September 27th through the 29th. So go ahead and mark your calendars for that, guys. You got a few weeks to prepare, and we'll keep reminding you until the event comes up. So come see us at either one of those, or both. So for yesterday, we had just a few storm reports throughout most of the nation. Pretty quiet overall, and the risks are pretty scattered because of that heat down south, which fortunately is being resolved a little bit with that cold front for today. But yesterday, only a couple of storm reports through Oklahoma, Mississippi, and Minnesota. So for our southern ones, we did get a little bit of severe hail through the far northeastern part of Oklahoma, as well as all the way down to the southeast of Jackson, Mississippi, and then a couple of gusty winds here and there, but really nothing to be super, loud about it. Nothing crazy happened for yesterday. Then into today, looking at that cold front that's continuing to sink through the south and east through Texas, making its way towards Dallas right now. As that continues to sink southeastward, we will see some storm chances with that, as well as a low pressure system up through the north and the northern plains. So you can see the storms starting to form there through Montana and North Dakota. As they continue to sink towards Bismarck, we'll see some isolated cells start to form up. Could get some scattered hail with that, as well as possibly a wind gust here and there. And then again, the cold front is really going to be where more storm coverage comes out of. We'll see a little bit more, rain behind the leading cells that are going to form in a few hours here, but we do have some gusty winds possible with that. Really hot for hail, and we're going to talk about that here in a second. But here's our future temperatures, okay? Dallas hitting 100 degrees by 6 p.m., so likely you will see the triple digits again today if you guys are in and around the DFW metro. You got that urban heat island, as well as just the Texas heat working against you, and this cold front is kind of stalling out for today during the afternoon and early evening hours, but then it really starts to make its push down south through the overnight. So there we are by midnight. Dallas, you get that nighttime cooling down to 84 degrees, and then it's going to continue pushing southward for our Houston chances tomorrow ahead of that frontal system, and then DFW, you should be waking up to much more pleasant temperatures like we did here in Oklahoma, so enjoy that relief from the heat for the coming hours. So speaking of that heat, just kind of want to give you guys a reminder on how hail forms if you're new or if you're just curious. So we get these updrafts that, are driven by instability and heat from the surface. You get that air pulling all of that moisture up, frozen water droplets, getting pulled up by that. And then we get this freezing level in the upper atmosphere. And what happens is this updraft continues to push that frozen water up above the freezing level, and then it'll fall down and it'll keep going up and down a few times, and you get those layers of ice forming as that happens. But this freezing level is super key right now because that's going to be above your ground level, and you need that for the hail to be able to continue to get those layers of ice. If it's too warm, that won't happen. And then, eventually when you do get that freezing level that continues to grow that hail, the hail outweighs the updraft and eventually it falls down. But again, freezing level is super important, and that's been coming into play lately for our hail chances. So I think our hail model really kind of ties that in really well. So I'm kind of liking that significant hail model right now for this time of year, because down south we have that cold front that has that large scale forcing that we usually need to see that severe weather forming, but our significant hail model isn't showing much in terms of hail potential. We see that up here in the north where we get that second disturbance that's moving on through, and that's because we have that cooler freezing level available in the northern plains. Now down in the south, much warmer, much harder to get that, that potential for hail because of that. So there we are. That yellow was during our storm initiation in the northern plains here, and then it's going to kind of taper off throughout the evening and overnight hours as we tend to see. So here we are right now with those storms developing through Montana and North Dakota. As they continue towards Bismarck, there we have more development, more coverage. It's still going to be fairly scattered through the area, but storm chance nonetheless with any of those singular cells along the North Dakota and Montana border. Those are going to continue off to east, and we could get wind chances with the southern end of that, as well as once these storms start to kind of cluster together through North Dakota, wind chances coming out of that as well. But initially a hail chance with those singular cells. And then once things kind of sink towards Bismarck, we're going to see it kind of break apart, get a little bit messier. So, just some loud thunderstorms for you guys in Fargo by around 6 a.m. Then down to the south and east. Again, primarily a hail chance, just too hot for wind, or other way around. Primarily a wind chance, too hot for hail. Here we are by 4:30 p.m. As storms move across the Birmingham area, we'll start to see, again, some more of a line developing through the area, as well as some scattered storms developing just to the west of Shreveport. And then we're going to see that kind of organize itself. There it goes by 7, and now we're seeing, that cold front action happening with those storms spreading across the, leading edge of that frontal system. Any of those could produce some gusty winds as they collapse, and then once we get those clusters forming towards Mobile and through Jackson, some gusty winds coming out of that as well. Continuing off towards Florida by 6 a.m., and then we'll have another round for you guys for tomorrow to talk about. We're going to get to that in a second. But for today, hail is just going to primarily be through this North and South Dakota and Montana corridor through there. Probably just quarters for you guys. Not looking like it's going to be super widespread, and we're going to have a pretty short period of development. But, quarters nonetheless are possible, anywhere from Rapid City to Bismarck to just to the east of Glasgow, Montana. Then, for wind, looking at our chances through the southeast, as well as a scattered chance up with that northern risk area as well. So if you guys are in, once again, Bismarck, Minot, or Rapid City, low-end chance for you guys to get some damaging winds with any of those clusters of storms that are moving through. And then all the way from Shreveport into Jacksonville, low-end chance for you guys, again, ahead of that cold front. And then fingers crossed for some cooler weather for you guys into tomorrow. So here is tomorrow's storm risk as we're moving through now this low pressure system that started out in Montana and North Dakota, as that continues moving through the northern plains and into Minnesota, Iowa, and that corridor. We're going to see storms continue to develop ahead of it by around 3:30 p.m. Again, these could be hailers now that they're moving down further south. We do get a little bit more coverage of things. Kind of starts to look pretty nasty as it's moving towards Fargo by 5 p.m. And then again, things getting ready to make a run at Hastings as well. As that moves through, now we're seeing it start to, again, get pretty messy down to the south and cluster up as it moves through Fargo. So more of a wind chance potential for you guys into that time, and then some scattered hail as well. Then it's going to diminish as it moves towards Des Moines, so you guys should be in the clear. Then down south, again, that cold front's kind of lingering, and it will finally make its way off the coast into the next couple of days here, but as it's waiting to move into the Gulf, we'll continue to see storms ahead of it. So here we are by 1 p.m. with some scattered storms developing now through New Orleans area, all the way through Lafayette and into Texas. We'll see those kind of start to, again, band up, kind of similar to how we see it today with all those isolated storms forming initially and then clustering up together as they intensify. So now through New Orleans and making their way towards Houston by 4 p.m. And that's going to continue off to the south. Jacksonville, you guys are in it by 7:30, as well as most of the east coast of Florida. You guys are getting those sea breeze storms. Plenty to talk about through the southeast. So, if you guys are pretty much on the map here, you got a storm chance as long as you're along the Gulf Coast area. So New Orleans still seeing storms by 7:30, and now into Houston, probably got a wind chance for you guys looking at those, kind of linear storm modes as they're moving through. But some much needed rain for you guys in central Texas, some gusty winds as well. So, and again, relief from the heat. So can't complain about that. So here is tomorrow's hail forecast for you guys, keeping it up in the Central Plains once again. We're looking at anywhere from Sioux Falls down into Grand Island, Hastings area. Got a low end chance of seeing some scattered hail with those storms when they form initially. And then for wind, you got a chance as well through the Central Plains, as well as pretty much that whole cold front area from Texas all the way into Florida. So once again, Sioux Falls and Grand Island got a chance for you guys, as well as all the way down pretty much anywhere from Houston to New Orleans, all the way into Jacksonville. Low end chance for you guys. Keeping it low end just because things have continued to be pretty scattered in terms of severity, but in terms of storms, there should be plenty of coverage, so expect some rain, some thunder, and again, some cooler weather. So gonna leave you guys with the jet stream versus the heat dome for the weekend, and then we'll talk about the tropics. So right now we've been seeing these really battle it out. It's been kind of the heat dome winning out for most of the summer. It's just kind of taken over most of the central U.S. and kind of lingered. And so we've been seeing constant temperatures over 100 for the southern plains, and many of us have just been seeing above normal temperatures. But now they're really starting to duke it out as we get back towards that fall weather and into potentially a second storm season. So once we get this jet stream that's been kind of scooting its way off to the south. Here we are by today at noon. So right now we've kind of got this heat dome that's kind of continue to shift off to the west and up to the northwest as this low pressure system kind of squeezes it that way. So you can see that kind of happening here as we move into Saturday at noon. We see that jet stream continue to push off to the west and force that heat dome up into the Pacific Northwest. So if you guys are anywhere along the west coast, Oregon, even Montana, could be expecting warmer than normal temperatures, but for most of us that have been just baking in that heat dome for so long, this jet stream is really going to help us out. Now by Sunday, we're going to see it start to let up a little bit, make its way back to the east, and let that heat dome come back to the east along with it. But we've got another trough that's moving in from the west, and we're starting to see again the jet stream have more influence over the heat dome instead of the other way around. So I expect kind of fluctuating temperatures as we start to see once we move towards fall, but again, I'd rather it be fluctuating than just constantly hot. So just letting y'all know. And again, storm chances will start to pick up as we get that battle between the jet stream and the heat dome starting to pick up as well. So finally, leaving you guys with the tropical outlook. We watched this guy yesterday, looked a little bit more organized than it does today, but that's just because it's starting to move over land. We expected that to happen as it moves over the Yucatan Peninsula. Shouldn't have much of a chance to develop, that's why it's at 0%. But into the weekend, once it moves towards the Gulf in those nice warm waters, and low wind shear environment potentially, we could see a little bit more development on it. So we're watching this again primarily into the weekend. Got to wait for it to skip over the Yucatan, but this is making a run into the Gulf. So we've got prime hurricane season coming up here. So keeping a close eye on it, and again we'll keep you guys updated as we always do on those hurricane chances. But for now, not a crazy change from yesterday. So if you guys want to follow us, you can get us on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Hit See First on Facebook so you never miss a live video. And then you can call us at 855-334-4245. If you'd rather email, you can get us at info@hailtrace.com or check out our website, hailtrace.com, for more details. And we'll let you guys know what happens with our severe and tropical chances. But for now, I'm meteorologist Andrea Myers. Thanks for watching.